Anity and the Galactic Concord, an interstellar coalition of advanced species, occurred near the edge of the Perseus Arm. To the Concord's observers, Earth's representatives seemed unimpressive, a species of soft, bipedal mammals with no natural weapons or armor. Their initial overtures of diplomacy, laden with talk of trade and kotion, only reinforced the perception that humans were a minor curious aparity, a species better suited for bureaucratic roles than battlefields. But the frontier worlds of the Concord told a different story. Here, on the contested fringes of galactic civilization, humanity had already begun to make its mark. Lieutenant Corsac of the Zorith Empire, a reptilian species known for their martial prowess, surveyed the battlefield on Dryan III with frustration. His troops, once confident of a swift victory, were now bogged down in a brutal war of attrition against an enemy they had underestimated, human settlers. What do you mean they're holding the RIDG? When the Galactic Concord encountered humanity for the first time, they didn't see warriors, they saw diplomats. That mistake cost them dearly. The first contact between Hume? Corsac demanded, his tail lashing with irritation. A junior officer, her scales dulled by exhaustion, responded nervously. The humans, they fight differently, sir. They don't retreat when outnumbered. They dig in, they are primitives. Corsac interrupted. A species that only recently discovered faster-than-light travel. How can they withstand the might of the Zorith? The officer's silence was answer enough. Despite their technological inferiority, the humans of Dryan III had turned every disadvantage into an opportunity. When the Zorith had bombarded their settlements, the humans had repurposed the wreckage into fortifications. When supplies ran low, they scavenged and adapted with uncanny ingenuity. And when the Zorith launched overwhelming assaults, the humans fought back with a ferocity that defied reason. Captain Sarah Vallon of the Dryan Defense Force crouched behind a makeshift barricade, her pulse rifle clutched tightly in her hands. The acrid smell of smoke and ozone filled the air, and the distant roar of Zorith artillery shook the ground beneath her feet. "Status report," she barked, her voice cutting through the chaos. A young soldier scrambled to her side. "They're regrouping for another push. Looks like they're bringing in heavy armor this time." Vallon's lips curled into a grim smile. "Let them. We've got surprises of our own." The surprises were crude but effective. IEDs fashioned from mining explosives, automated turrets powered by salvaged batteries, and a network of trenches that turned the battlefield into a nightmare for the advancing Zorith forces. What the humans lacked in resources, they made up for with adaptability and sheer determination. When the Zorith tanks rolled into the valley, they found themselves bogged down in hidden traps and ambushes. Human snipers picked off officers with surgical precision, while guerrilla teams harassed supply lines, sowing chaos and confusion. "They don't fight fair," one Zorith soldier muttered as he crouched in a foxhole, his scaled hands trembling around his weapon. "They don't fight like anyone else." Back in the Concord's capital, reports from the Dryan conflict began to circulate among the member species. Ambassador Drell Ka of the Saren, a species renowned for their pacifism and intellectual pursuits, reviewed the data with growing unease. "This cannot be accurate," she said, her fronds quivering as she addressed the council. "How can a newly discovered species achieve such feats against an established military power?" Admiral Zektok of the Krasari, a crustacean-like species with centuries of military experience, responded grimly. "It's accurate. I've reviewed the footage myself. The humans are different. Their tactics are unconventional, their resilience extraordinary. And their willingness to sacrifice everything for victory is unlike anything we've encountered." Another representative, a feline-like Thraxian, scoffed. "They're primitives. Surely this is an anomaly." "It is not an anomaly," Zektok countered. "It is a pattern." On Dryan III the pattern continued. As the Zorith pressed their assault, the human defenders adapted once again. Captain Vallon's forces launched a counteroffensive that caught the enemy off guard, using scavenged vehicles as battering rams to breach their lines. "Push them back," Vallon shouted, leading the charge herself. Her soldiers, emboldened by her courage, fought with renewed ferocity. They had no reinforcements, no hope of retreat. But they had something the Zorith lacked, an unyielding resolve to protect their home. In the end, the Zorith retreated, their forces decimated and their morale shattered. The humans of Dryan III stood victorious, their battered settlements a testament to their resilience. News of the victory spread quickly, reaching every corner of the Concord. To many, it was an inspiring tale of a small colony standing against a powerful empire. To others it was a warning. Ambassador Drelka addressed the council once more, her tone grave. We have underestimated humanity. They're not like us. Their history is one of conflict, of survival against impossible odds. And now that history has become their greatest weapon, the council chamber fell silent. For the first time, the Concord's members began to grasp the true nature of the species they had dismissed as insignificant. Humanity, it seemed, was more than a curiosity. They were a force to be reckoned with. And the galaxy was only beginning to understand just how terrifying that force could be. If the galaxy's first mistake was underestimating humanity, its second was failing to comprehend their capacity for adaptation, both on the battlefield and beyond. The Galactic Concord's military academies had studied countless conflicts over millennia, but humanity presented a new kind of challenge. They didn't just learn from their defeats, they grew stronger because of them. This terrifying adaptability was exemplified during the Siege of Veldros, where humans took the lessons of Dryan 3 and turned them into a doctrine that sent shockwaves through the galaxy. The battle began as the Concord's response to humanity's growing reputation. Veldros, a critical trade hub on the fringes of human-controlled space, became the target of a massive joint offensive by the Concord's combined fleets. Their goal was clear: demonstrate superior force and crush the myth of human invincibility before it spread further. Admiral Kaelrin of the Sverren, a species renowned for their strategic brilliance, took command of the operation. We will strike quickly and decisively, Kaelrin declared to his assembled captains. Their resilience means nothing if we deny them the chance to respond. On paper it was a flawless plan. The Concord's fleets outnumbered the human defenders 10-1, their technology was more advanced, and their strategies honed over centuries. Yet, as the battle unfolded, it became clear that humanity had already anticipated such an assault. From his command center aboard the Hyperion, Fleet Admiral James Carter analyzed the incoming attack. He was a veteran of Dryan 3 and understood that brute force alone wouldn't save Veldros. They think they can overwhelm us with numbers, Carter said, studying the holographic display of enemy formations. Let's teach them what happens when they underestimate human ingenuity. The human fleet's response was unconventional. Instead of forming a defensive line, they scattered, employing hit-and-run tactics that disrupted the Concord's carefully coordinated assault. Frigates and corvettes darted through the enemy ranks, targeting supply ships and command vessels with surgical precision. At the same time, ground forces on Veldros fortified their positions, using every resource available to create an impenetrable defense. On the surface, Major Elena Park oversaw the defense of Veldros' largest city. She had learned from Captain Valen's tactics on Dryan 3, but her approach was even more aggressive. Where Valen had dug in, Park pushed forward, turning urban environments into lethal kill zones. We're not just defending this city, Park told her troops. We're making them pay for every inch they try to take. Her soldiers, a mix of humans and alien volunteers inspired by humanity's resilience, executed her plan with precision. Mines buried in key choke points funneled enemy troops into ambushes, while sniper teams eliminated officers and heavy weaponry. When the Concorde deployed their elite shock troops, Park's forces countered with drones and exocets that leveled the playing field. They're relentless, a Concorde officer reported to Admiral Kaelrin. Every time we think we've broken through, they're already countering. It's as if they've predicted our every move. Kaelrin's frustration grew. He had underestimated not just humanity's adaptability, but their capacity to inspire unity among their allies. The coalition of species fighting alongside humans was not bound by fear or obligation but by shared belief in the cause. In orbit, the space battle reached a fever pitch. The Concorde's flagship, the Resolute Blade, was a marvel of engineering, bristling with advanced weaponry and defended by an impenetrable energy shield. Yet even this technological marvel found itself vulnerable to humanity's ingenuity. Captain Tariq Hassan, commanding the destroyer Vigilant, led a daring assault on the Resolute Blade. Target their shield generators, Hassan ordered. We'll have one shot at this. The Vigilant and its escorts performed a high-risk maneuver, using the debris of destroyed ships as cover to approach the flagship. When they reached optimal range, they unleashed a barrage of coordinated fire that overwhelmed the Blade's defenses. The flagship's shields flickered and failed, and a well-placed missile strike disabled its primary weapon systems. The sight of the mighty Resolute Blade crippled sent shockwaves through the Concorde fleet. Morale plummeted, and their coordinated assault began to unravel. As the tide turned, humanity's adaptability became evident in another way. They weren't content with merely surviving, they sought to learn and improve in real time. Soldiers and officers shared information across the battlefield, updating tactics and strategies on the fly. Engineers modified equipment mid-battle, creating makeshift solutions to unforeseen challenges. By the end of the siege, the Concorde's forces were in full retreat. Veldros remained under human control, but the victory was far more than territorial. Humanity had demonstrated that their strength lay not in their technology or numbers, but in their unparalleled ability to adapt and overcome. In the aftermath, Fleet Admiral Carter addressed the people of Veldros and their allies. Today we proved that resilience isn't just about enduring hardship. It's about rising above it, turning adversity into opportunity, and refusing to back down in the face of overwhelming odds. That is what makes us who we are. The victory at Veldros cemented humanity's reputation as a terrifyingly effective warrior species. Across the galaxy, species that once dismissed them as insignificant began to view them with a mix of awe and fear. For humanity, the battle was another step in their journey, not just to survive, but to thrive in a galaxy that now understood the cost of underestimating them.